What's going on, my fellow A-plussers? It's your boy, Adam Perez. I'm back once again with a brand new movie review. As this time around, we're set to go ahead and dive into Warfare, a brand new film that just dropped this past week. I believe it released on April 11th, a film that I honestly did not even know existed until last week. Funny story, I was actually trying to find some tickets for The Amateur, and I was looking through what was coming soon, what was going to be released soon, to see what else was certainly out there for me to check out. I saw the poster for Warfare, wasn't familiar with it, saw the trailer, hooked immediately. And then only to add more to that, come to find out Alex Garland, fresh off of Civil War, was actually the co-writer and co-director for this film. So I kind of had an idea of the intensity and sort of like the visceral, gritty directing style of his that I was kind of getting myself into. The buzz continued to grow for Warfare all weekend long while I waited anxiously for Monday to come, and Monday night arrived, and I finally got the opportunity to check out Warfare for myself. And it honestly does not disappoint, guys. This is a movie that, again, co-written and co-directed by Alex Garland, but his partner in this film, Ray Mendoza, is also the co-writer and co-director. And this story is not only about Ray Mendoza himself, but his other former SEALs team back in an Iraq mission back in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. They were in Iraq. They had a surveillance mission in 2006, and it went terribly wrong. And this is a story of Ray Mendoza along with his men. But what makes Warfare more interesting to me is the concept that it's built around the memories of everybody certainly involved. And I've had the opportunity to check out some of the behind the scenes stuff of Ray Mendoza, talking about having to get every person that was there, their perspective, their point of view, sort of thing, to kind of stitch this story in time together. And pretty amazing stuff that made its way to the big screen. So if you haven't had the opportunity to check out Warfare, I highly recommend that you do. But let's talk about this real quick. I do want to talk about some of the things that worked for me, some of the things that didn't. I had more pros than cons, if anything. So I will start off with one of the cons in here. Because of the fact that this is very much sort of like one moment in time, the way that this goes, I kind of wanted a little bit more depth in regards to the story details. And I mean the sense of like, why are we there? Who are we surveilling? What's the stake as to what happens if this does go wrong? What's the bigger picture here in regards to why these men are kind of on this mission in the first place? It doesn't really give you sort of that background story to add more to it, besides the idea of this just simply being built on chemistry, camaraderie, this brotherhood, right? The battle that they certainly get themselves in. So, from a narrative perspective, I wanted to know the whys, the hows, the outcomes, the stakes, like what was riding certainly on this one particular mission, if it succeeded or if it failed. I didn't necessarily felt like I got that. So, from a storyline perspective, it kind of fell by the wayside for me. But that doesn't take away from the idea of literally having to stitch people's memories together in order to kind of get this brief, intense, incredibly violent sort of a moment in time. While definitely kudos for what they were capable of doing in here, as somebody that loves depth, I kind of wanted to know the why around a lot of the things that was certainly going on for this particular surveillance mission back in 2006. The pros, on the other hand, look, man, let me tell you something. I feel like I can go on forever in the sense of like, for me, performances out of this world. Will Poulter is in here. Joseph Quinn, who's gonna be Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four, fresh off of A Quiet Place, along with Stranger Things. I think Joseph Quinn is literally gonna be a star. The man is a great actor, and he showcases it in here. Also, even one of the guys from Daredevil, Born Again, Kingpin's right hand man right now, Daniel. Even his actor is in this particular film. I was not expecting that whatsoever, but it is really cool to kind of see the bond that these guys have. You get to see sort of the relationships that some of these characters certainly have with each other, even if they don't necessarily come out and say it, the way that they perform it, the glances that they give each other, you get to clearly see how much these men sort of mean to each other. And I think that's really brought out fantastically well in the performances that we get in here. I mean, when you're talking about having to portray yourself as injured, as traumatized, I mean, I literally felt for all of these men in a sense of like just worrying about their lives, wondering what their outcome was certainly going to be throughout this movie, really curious what men made it, who didn't. And I did appreciate that this film at the end also kind of gives you sort of like shows you who the actor is along with who the real life person certainly is, in regards to learning and building off each other. And kudos to just the performance of being able to act like you're a trained Navy SEAL. I come to find out that they did go through like a 3-week boot camp. So that definitely had to build some level of camaraderie and brotherhood. And you get to see the training that they've taken in action. And they look really smooth, certainly doing it. So from an actor standpoint, beautifully acted in here. Sound, it's crazy. I don't think that this movie had a musical score. Maybe like until the credits start rolling. But the sound is incredible in here. Whether it's the grenades, whether it's the bullets flying past your ears, whether it's the visceral screams, whether it's sometimes the absence of sound, to build that level of intensity, explosions. There are plenty of times in this movie it definitely startled me and caught me off guard, not sure when a bullet was going to strike or a rocket was going to strike. Definitely made me jump out of my seat. The sound was that good, and I think it just helps really elevate the intensity of this particular film. Directing on point. The editing was great in here in regards to tracking all the multiple movements that are certainly going around when you're in this big cluster of soldiers and things like that. So breathtaking movie to certainly watch. The intensity was definitely there. Hearing the people breathe. I mean, the sound, despite the idea of it having a musical score, the sound really helped carry a lot of those violent and intense moments, when it's a ton of gunfire kind of just going all around, if you will. So I was a really big fan of this film. I had a really good time. Again, I wish there was a little bit more depth in regards to the why that we're on this mission, maybe a little bit more backstory, why these particular men were picked, or them getting their orders. Just I would have loved a little bit more of like the beginning and after to kind of fill in some of the context there. But from a particular moment in time, kudos to them for putting this together, because it truly is a love letter to what the men and women of our armed forces certainly go through. You would never find me in that particular situation, but it definitely takes a special and a particular type of man or woman to be in those positions, to put their lives on the line, regardless if you feel some type of way about why we're in a war or why we're fighting the people that we're fighting. The fact that these men and women are taking orders and they're fighting for us, you know valiant efforts, just incredible to kind of see them put this all together and what they truly put their bodies and their minds to, in order to protect us and make the world a little bit of a safer place. So I really did appreciate that. And if there's anything that really kind of stood out to me, I think one scene that really surprised me was probably one of the ending scenes when everybody certainly evacuated and they've left the housing complex. The Iraqi family that's kind of left behind, you get to see that their house is used, their lives are kind of just put on hold in a very terrifying situation, and they find themselves in the middle of things. Their house is ransacked and completely destroyed. And when the people actually leave, when the soldiers leave, and you just have the Iraqi family there is something sort of like, I want to say unforgiving, but it is something about the idea that you literally just sort of use these people, and you've used this moment of their life. I don't want to say ruined it, but it is just something lonely and sad, and to show like I don't want to say the not caring about somebody's life, but to just come into somebody's house, uplift and uproot them, and destroy what's around them simply just to leave them behind and leave them with these shambles and having to clean the blood off the floor and having to rework their lives again. It is something very obtrusive about that I think we underscore when it comes to war. Not only our soldiers, but the people that are kind of caught in the middle of it also. And to me, that's something I really took away from this scene. Like after all the destruction and the death, the people that were just living their everyday lives that didn't ask for any of this now get stuck with the results of it all. And it definitely made me sad for them and the results of war, unfortunately. But yeah, um, great movie. I had my issues with it, but I had more enjoyment out of this film than I certainly was expecting. So, guys, if you haven't checked out Warfare, if you love good intensity, if you love a war film, definitely go ahead and check it out. But look, at the end of the day, these are simply my A plus opinions. I want to know yours. Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. And until next time, do me a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A plus. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.